Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video where I will be using a tool called Instant. It's basically a Shopify store builder, completely no code, where you can build custom Shopify themes. And I'm going to be building this particular website. This is the Adidas.com for the US. And basically it contains this hero section that you can see here with this text that we have up here. So basically it's an image, but I'm just going to make this as a header text. Then we have down here these two texts. We have these buttons, and we have this basically this product carousel, if you want to call it like that. And then we have these category selectors. We have these different buttons down here, and then we have these different related resources or blog preview images. And then we have this specific section here and this text over here, right? So I'm going to try as much as I can to, in a limited amount of time, to replicate this website using Instant. And if you don't know about Instant, if you want to first use other templates first, you can do that as well. And you can kind of get a walkthrough of how to use the tool. I have another video on how to use Instant in my YouTube channel. But basically, we're just going to build this, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our Shopify home administration section, and under apps, we're going to have to add Instant as an app. And basically, Instant allows you to have a free trial where you can work with one app, with one Shopify store, and you can create either one page or you can create one section. I believe that's the case, which is pretty cool, right? Because a section you can repeat in different pages. It can be like a specific, custom section that you can have in all of your Shopify pages, or you can have one nice homepage that you built in Instant. So I have the app open. If I click this, I just go to my my builder, which I'm going to do right now. If I click here, it takes me here to my builder. And I'm going to remove these pages. I'm going to start from complete scratch. And basically, I'm going to insert. I want to insert a new page. If I go here to this third option over here, we can build a new page, an empty new page from scratch. That's exactly what I want to do. And as you can see, it's a very familiar interface. I love this interface because it's very similar to Framer, very similar to Figma. And these are tools that I really love to use on a daily basis. So something of a plus that Instant has, right? But now let's go to the Adidas store and kind of try to recreate this in Instant. So let's start off here. We have this nice section here. I would say this is about 60 pixels bottom, 60 pixels on the top, and about 100 pixels maybe over here on the sides, right? So we can start off with a nice box, a nice stack, container, however you want to call it. I don't know how Instant calls it. Let's see. We can start off with, if we press plus, right, a row. So we can go here, add this row here, and inside of this row, so basically what I want to do is that this row would be the actual page, right? So this page is a row that contains this row, this row. This is also a row because the stuff are going from top to bottom. And then some of these things are going to be columns, like for example, these are going to be columns, or these are going to be columns, or these two buttons up here, right? So, but let's first off, we're scrolling downwards, so this is going to be a large row. So now that we have that, let's add another row inside. So this is going to be, if we go to our layers panel, we can call this page, our page, right? And we can go ahead and add another row into our page row, and we can call this a hero section. So hero. And if I were to click this, I can, expand this down and collapse this, or make it go away by clicking this arrow. But we have our hero, even though you can't really see it, it's there. And in this hero, we're gonna have to add we want to add a text. So title, text, text, and another text. So, and 3 buttons, right? So we can go ahead and do that. So we need in this row, let's go back here. So in this row, we need a, let's go back. We need a title, a heading text. Perfect. Beautiful. We got it there. Let's make sure that it's in the right place. It is. We got our heading. We got our other text that we got to add, which is going to be that subheading somewhere on the bottom. We want to add another text, which is going to be that little paragraph text underneath that. Let's make sure that it's inside of this hero section. There we go. So we got this one, this one, this one, and now we want the buttons. So we want 3 buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a column, and we have 3 buttons. We can insert 3 columns, but I'm just going to insert 1 column. Start off with this, go like that, make sure that it's inside of this hero section. Perfect. So I got a column, and I want to add a button to this column. So I want to add a button with an icon, let's say. And we're going to have these 3 things. So what we can do is we can duplicate this 3 times. And now we have a nice column. And I can see that it's pretty high. Let me just reduce that to make this 0. Perfect. We can also reduce the space between, so it's kind of close. So we're going to make it like around, let's say 20. Perfect. And we can also even edit this button style, right? So we can go ahead down here. We can make it black. We can, Adidas, I think, has it very sharp. So we can make this 0, just like Adidas has it. Give it a border and make this fill white, right? It's white. And we want the text. We want the icon to go after the text, and we want the text and the icon to be black. We don't want it to be, whoops, I got the wrong thing. We want this to be black. And we want this text, this icon to be black as well. So we can go ahead and press this, and we can also choose an icon. So this one is going to be an arrow. And we can make an arrow, I guess, to the right somewhere. Here we go. They have it something like that. It's not the same, but it doesn't really matter. And now we can just delete these other ones, because we can basically just copy this, duplicate this button 3 times, and boom, it looks pretty much like the Adidas one. But we have an issue with the spacing here, right? First of all, let's replace the text. A true classic with a long legacy. So let's just write that. A true classic with a long legacy. And this one, for example, is going to be called Gazelle. And we can make it uppercase Gazelle. Perfect. And we can basically add another row in here. And let's just add it, let's just place it somewhere. And what we can do is we can place all of these into this row. And this row now is going to be, it's going to fit the content, and we're going to decrease the gap between everything. Right, so let's see how the gap is here. It's about like 20 pixels, 20 pixels, I would say, maybe even less, maybe like 16. And now, but these two are pretty close to each other. And this one is actually going to be a kind of like a bolder text. So we can adjust that color, make it black, make the font size about 24 pixels. And we can even adjust make the font something different, like something like Barlow bold, I guess, or semi-bold. And now, so this gap is quite smaller than this gap, so we got to add another row to this. So let's just add this row in here. Let's go back to our layers, And let's drag these elements into this row. So we're just putting everything into a compact place. Now let's just decrease the size of this to about, I would say even like 6 pixels, something like that. And now this hero section has a nice spacing here. And we can even increase the gap of everything. We can make it like 60, maybe 70, maybe 100, 120, something like that. And now what we can do is we can add this padding here on the bottom and right and left. And we can do that. Well, this we gotta first change and make it gazelle, and maybe change the font as well to something like Barlow, which I had. By the way, we have a big selection of fonts, which is great. I love to see that. And let's just make this inside spacing, which in other words is padding. Let's just adjust everything to be something like this, I guess. Maybe we can make it a little bit more, 30 and 50, or 60 and 40, I would say. So we have a good space around. Perfect. And now it's starting to look a little bit more like it. We can even adjust this hero section text to be a little bit larger. Can select the style. We have this header font, but we can select something else. We can maybe make it like 64 pixels, something like that. Perfect. And now we can select this hero section, and for a fill we can add an image, and this image, for example, can be something like this specific background image, right? So I'm gonna basically use something else. I'm gonna not use this same image. I'm gonna maybe generate something in Midjourney and use that as an example image. So I just created this image. Now let's go back here and click on the fill image, and let's upload an image. Right, so I've already uploaded one before, but I'm going to upload a new one, which is this one. And we're just going to wait until it loads. And boom, we got it like just like that. And now what we can do is we can go back to our different texts here and edit the font colors to be white instead of black. Right, something along these lines, right? So now we got this nice fake Adidas looking background, which is maybe not the same as this. This is obviously much better, but yeah, it's basically the same design, right? So actually these buttons are a little bit different than these. These are quite bigger, so I'm gonna actually edit these, and we can do that by doing this. So we can just edit the size of these to be different. So 6, this seems to look good. Maybe 12 and 12 here. And then what I'm going to do is just, again, delete these buttons and duplicate them again and reduce the gap to about 10 pixels. We're just going to put shop women, shop men, shop kids, just like it is. So shop woman, shop men, and shop kids. Now, all right. So basically, if we want to add different links to our different pages, we can add these links to these different pages, right? And we can add them to external links or to internal links, which is great. We can also connect these with specific collections or Shopify products that we have in our store, which is also wonderful. So yeah, we got that first part done. Actually, for example, these, we can even add this style that we have a fill in the background that's white, and the actual text can be black. And same with here. We have a fill in the background, white, and a darker text. Actually, it's going to be a little bit lighter and light font. All right. And we can even adjust the size of everything to be smaller. So it won't be 16, it can be 14 pixels. And looking good. All right, let's see how this would look like in the mobile version. So we have the desktop version. Now, if we just click on this button, we can see the mobile version, and we can see that there are a few things going wrong over here. And basically what I would do is just make sure that these buttons go in another direction. So not as a column, but as a row. So this would be the first type of thing that I would want this to be like. So like this. So we can set this up like this, and then we would set the widths of each button to be a fill. And we can adjust the padding of this hero section to be less on the different sides, right? Something maybe like this. So now we have a nice, so this is basically how the actual responsiveness would work in the different sizes, right? So we got our hero section under 20 minutes, or maybe even less, which is great. Now what we want to do is we want to add this next section. So we have new arrivals, best sellers, and we have view all, and then we have these different cards, right? We can try to do this now as a next point. So to understand what we have to build, we have to kind of understand the logic behind this, right? So we have new arrivals, which are new shoes that just came out, and we have best sellers. So these are basically two tabs with two different feeds. So we would not only need one type of functionality here, which is the tabs, we also need feeds. So what we can do is we can go back to our instant builder, and under the plus sign, we can go into our interactive elements here. And well, before I do that, I want to add a different row because I want to keep this organized. So I'm going to add a row and drag it underneath, and we're going to call this our, how would we call this? This would be our products, right? Let's just call it like this. And then under our products, what we're going to do is we're going to add another thing. We're going to add something interactive. We're going to add tabs. And as you can see here, the width is fill, or 100% relative, but we have a maximum width here. And what we can do is we can just set this maximum width to 100 pixels for now. And then in these tabs, we have the menu items and we have the content. Right now it's looking kind of weird. We have item 1 and item 2, and they're both like two notes, for example. But we can do this. We can add something interactive. We can add a product. We can add a carousel. Or we can add a product card. I would say a product carousel would be the best. So just as you saw in the other place, we can also add it here. So let's add a carousel right here under the item 1. So if I were to go to the item 1, so under product, we can go to carousel, and we can drag this carousel over here, right under the item 1. And let's go back to our, okay, let's just make sure that everything is fine. We want this to be inside of item 1. And the reason why is because whenever we were to switch, we get a different feed, right? And if we had this underneath item 1, it would be in both of the tabs. So you got to make sure that this item 1 stays as it is. And basically what we can do is we can duplicate this, and we can bring this down here to item 2, remove this, and we have different collections, right? So we have this basic placeholder collection from Instant, from these different plants, beautiful, right? And for the items 2, I can link this to my Shopify projects. So I have this one acoustic guitar, for example, and we can link it to that. Might be a good idea. So basically item 1 would be this, item 2 would be this acoustic guitar that costs $169. And now what we can do is we can actually edit this a little bit, right? So we have our menu up here, we have our content. It's not looking exactly like it is in the Adidas store, so let's just make sure that we can adjust this a bit. So we want to put this button, I would say, somewhere here. I would put these triggers in this button. I'd probably make this something with the spacing. I would make it like this if it's possible. Okay, it is, but we're gonna make these triggers into one layout. So what we can do is add a column, drag it in here, boom, go to our layers, make sure that this is set to 0 and everything is fit, and perfect. Now we got a nice, now they're apart from each other. So it's starting to look more like the Adidas website. So collection, let's remove this. We don't need this. And we can go ahead and start designing this in a way that looks more like it. So we can delete this, perfect. For the collections, I would say we don't even need a lot of space, right, on the top and bottom, because we want it to be kind of close to the edge, right? Something like this. Let's do the same for this. So let's remove the paddings, or the inside and outside spacing, as Instant likes to call it. And let's go to this column. Let's edit the triggers. If it's possible, I would like to make them black and white, just like this. So how can we do this? So I would like this to be black. Add a property, style, text, be white. Okay. So I want add a property. Okay, no. Add property to this, no. Okay, we can leave item 1 like this, and then for item 2, maybe let's see if we can edit this. No, okay, it's not working like that. I mean, which is no problem right now. Obviously, it would be nice to do this, but it's not such a big deal at the moment. Let's make sure that these products, so let's see, we need kind of a gap here, same as here. How much was it here? 40, 60, 40, 60. Okay, so let's make it 60 over here, and it's fine like that. Let's make sure that the tabs, that the menu buttons here have less of a gap. So something like this maybe might be good. So item 1 would be called column triggers. So let's see where we can edit these names. If not, it's also fine for this particular tutorial, but it should be possible somewhere. If someone knows in the comments, please let me know. That would be great. But I'm pretty sure it's possible somewhere, but I just don't know. Maybe it's in the content. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so we would call this new arrivals. And we would call items 2 bestsellers. And then we want this stuff here, this content, to not have a fill. And the same with this. Okay, perfect. So they don't have fill. Great. And we want to maybe style this to be different. Maybe we would like for the price to be inside of the image somehow. And I can do that by probably combining these or making the image as a stack or as a layout somehow. So I'm doing this like freestyling right now, so I might not be doing the right thing, but we're figuring it out as we go, right? So square, relative, because maybe we might want to add a type of row in here. Go back to our layers, put this image into this row, put the price into this row. Whoops, it's not going in. Like this, and then like this. And then maybe the price can be not a relative, but an absolute position. And maybe we can put this in a way that it's above the image. Oh, look at this, perfect. So this is exactly what I need. Now I want this to be above the image. How can we do that? Usually in a tool like Framer, you can set the Z index here under the styles, but not in Instant, which is totally fine. Just gotta find out somehow how to do this. Directions, no. So I want this to go underneath. Maybe if I just simply go like this. Oh, there we go. Okay, and now for this, we want the image. How would we do this? Because the price is on the bottom. Okay, so the price has to go down here. And this has to be set to 0. The height has to be set to the image. The image has to be kind of fill. And we can adjust it. Okay, it looks looking good. Maybe 20 from the bottom and about 10 from the left. And we have this, actually this nice fill that's going to be white. And we might want to add some spacing, some gap. Oh, my bad. Strange that I want like that. So let's just get this pricing again and let's bring it downwards so that it touches the bottom. Well, 10. That's looking much more like the actual Adidas website, right? So We got that. Now we got these shoes, and we can also, we have the title, and we can duplicate this and not make it a title. We can make it a description, and we can set this to something like regular, I believe, or maybe light and not dark. And maybe it doesn't have to be the subscription. It can be like the category or the vendor or something like that. There we go, something like this. And we can adjust the font size to be smaller, and boom, it's looking more and more like the actual Adidas store, which is amazing. For this, for example, we can select this and adjust the padding on the left and right. So if I select this content container here, and I go down here to the inside, I can set this to 0, and then it reaches out to the to the sides. And then we have this view all. So let's just edit this view collection to view all. And we want to rename this, call it view all. We also want to style it so that it has like a nice underline. So if I were to see here, line break, balance, shadow, case, accent, line break, no. So maybe style, add property. There's something in here that we can use to underline it. Border. No, not the border, my bad. Case. No. Balance. Accent. Here you go, accent. And we can remove this little arrow, and we have something just like in the Adidas store, right? Now it's just a shame that I don't really know where to edit this specific item to button, but I would love to be able to do that. That would be great if I knew how to do that. Because then it can be like different colors for each tag. But it doesn't matter. We got that. It's looking good. And this is how it would look like. Now let's see how it would look like if we were to set the responsiveness. So this is the tablet mode or laptop, looking good. Tablet also looking fine. Maybe I would adjust right here the padding somewhere, wherever it is. I guess it's not here, but maybe in tabs. Somewhere there's a padding issue. I would just adjust that. I guess it's not, no, it's not this one. Maybe the collections, yes. So 0, collection set to 0. Then we have a nice desktop view, tablet view, sorry. And then for the phone, right? The phone is always going to be, you know, a pain in the ass. Pardon my French, but basically this is it. So tabs, we need tabs. So we need something like this that goes downwards vertically. And we can make both of these triggers set of fill width. We can set this to be kind of like this. Is this the right choice? I don't know. Maybe this can be horizontal and not vertical. And the menu can be vertical. And this can be set to fill. That's looking good, actually. Maybe this can be a good, you know, a good option for this. And then we have this at the bottom looking fine. Maybe we can adjust the padding on the mobile to be about 30, just like the other thing is. And that's basically how you do the responsiveness, right? And then we have other sections like this that we can add, which are pretty easy. Again, we can do this as a final thing because I don't want this whole tutorial to be so long. So we have other sections. We have these, for example, we have these, which might be interesting to build as well. So I think maybe we can build something like this. This is quite something that we can use, right? So how are we going to do this? We're going to have to go back here and we're going to have to insert something. We're going to have to insert a column. Actually, we're going to insert a row because every section that I'm adding is a row. So we're going to put this row. This row is going to be called categories, right? So we can call this categories. And inside of this categories, we can set a column. And in this column, we're going to add a image with a certain height, text button, right? Easy as that. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need an image. Let's make sure that perfect. So this is going to be like called card, image, button, no, image, text, button. Right? So image, text, button. So we need text. So text, we need like this text. Actually, we don't need the header. Just put it underneath here. And we need another text, maybe this paragraph text. This one can go above. And then we need a button. So the button can be, again, this icon button. Let's just put it here. And let's move this guy above the button. Okay. So we got this card. These guys are not inside the card. So let's bring them in here. So everything is inside the card. Same with the button. Button has to be inside the card and not outside. Now this card is going horizontally because I added a column and not a row. So let's just make this go like this. And we're going to have to make this particular row go horizontally so that when we duplicate it, it goes like this, as you can see. You're seeing something called overflow. I guess the best way of doing this is just to wrap it up. And we want the width of everything not to be relative 100%, but we want it to be fill, so that when we add more of these guys, they can fill the width like this. But we are not done with the design, so let's just delete these examples and let's just focus on making a nice design here. So we want to set a good height for this image. Let's set the height, actually the width, let's set to fill, and the height, let's set to fit, like maybe 600 would be good. Is that too big? Maybe, yeah, I would say maybe 400. 400 looks good. This is going to be the title. We're going to call this, for example, SL7. Let's call this one uptime. Uptime, you are covered. Okay. Uptime, you are covered. And now instead of like doing this whole thing again, I can just copy similar style. So if I found something like in the same style, like for example, this text, I can just copy this text from here, right? Like this gazelle text, and bring it down here. Oops. Duplicate it and bring it down to where it's supposed to go, which is over here actually. So let's go like this. Boom. There we are. Let's delete this. Uptime Was it uptime? Yeah, uptime. You are covered. Okay. You are covered. Boom. And then with this text, we can just do something like this. Boom. And again, we can use this particular row, bring it down here, delete this lorem ipsum, and just use this. Why not? We already made it. And this actually has a style that I want to remove. With an accent, right? Strange that it has this particular line, but whatever. I guess it's because there's like a border somewhere. Whatever, doesn't matter. So we got this. Now we need the button. The button is going to be kind of like this one. So what are we going to do? Just make sure we just copy everything that we have. We have this button. Let's just bring it down here on top of this button. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me duplicate it first, and then I bring it down here. There we go. So we have it up here, and we have it down here. And I'm just going to delete this. And so the gaps are pretty much the same. I want these to be together and this to stay the same in terms of the gaps. So I'm just going to add another row, put it in here, go to my layers, bring this guy in here, bring this guy in here. So now they're in the same row. We're gonna delete this minimum height, set it to 0, and we're gonna decrease the gap. Put it like 10 pixels, something like that. Perfect. Now it's really starting to look like the Adidas design, right? So we have our card. Let's duplicate it. What? 3 times? 4 times. Okay, let's duplicate it in 4 times. And we might want to decrease the size of this. We might want to, let's just delete these cards. Delete, delete, and delete. And we might want to just decrease the size of this guy. Put it around 18 pixels. And now we can go ahead with duplicating, and we can decrease the gap so it's very close. So we can decrease the gap to, let's say, 10 pixels. And let's make sure that the padding here is 60, right? And we can even make the padding on the bottom a nice, right here, we can set this to the bottom just to be 60. And we can set different images for these. We can set them to images that are set to a category or not. We can also see how it's looking like in different screen sizes. So for example, this one seems a little bit too big. We might want to, you know, adjust this a little bit differently. Maybe making it vertical, for example, or maybe leaving it like this. Right? Maybe we can go back here and not make it so tall. Make it about 300. Try to duplicate everything again. So 3 times. And then we can go back here. It's still looking good in terms of everything. But maybe here it doesn't look good. We want to make this go downwards, vertical. And this as well, it goes vertical automatically because I did it here, and all the changes made from a higher viewport collapsed into the lower viewports. So yeah, and now let's just set these things here to 30 and 30, and boom, we have a nice looking, you know, Adidas design for our website. We can publish this, and we can add this to our store, well, I gotta first go into my online store and open that up. And if I go like this and I search for the page, we can search for that instant page and boom, it's there. We can also even set this as a home page if we'd like, straight from the instant editor, I believe. So we can somehow do that. Set as home, exactly. So set as home, publish home page, and then we can go back, refresh our Shopify. I guess I have to exit here and then do it again. But it should be possible to basically set this as your home page through these settings. So let's see if it works this time. Failed to upload files to Shopify. Okay, let me see if it even synced to the home page. Okay, so it's not our home page, but we still have the page here. And it is theoretically possible to upload it as a home page. And then you can, view this. You can preview this site. And basically, it would be working as a normal Shopify page. You can switch to these different things. And yeah, basically that's it. So that was a quick little live raw build using Instant. I'm going to be building much more pages like this, just in case you guys are interested. But I want to basically just have a nice looking page, just like the Adidas store. And it's totally possible using something like Instant. You can create more sections like this. Let's say, for example, we can add this, a leader in athletic performance since 1949. We can do that. We can just, by adding another row underneath and adding some text. It's so easy, right? Like adding some text, like we can just add this same text from here and the same paragraph text, making sure that everything is in the same layer, right? Make sure that this row is in this page. Perfect. Making sure that everything is set. This has to be in the middle like this. This has to have a maximum width of about, let's say 500 pixels or maybe 600 pixels. We can set these to be fonts, so like Barlow, like as we had before. Easily be able to edit these fonts. So I mean, if you're coming from a Figma background or Framer background, it's so easy to edit everything here, which is great. And then we can make this to a fill, give it a fill of about something like dark gray. And this, for example, can have a text property of case, uppercase, make this a bold or a semi-bold. And we can just, copy this text. Copy, go over here, paste. And we just make sure that everything is set to what it is. Same with this, we can just copy paste it. I think it's a little bit larger than what it is right now. So let's just do that. We can set this to something like 24 and also give it a max width of about 500 pixels or maybe less, 400, and make it centered, right? So let's see, centered right here. And right here we got this row, and inside let's just add some padding, right? like we're supposed to do with everything, which is basically called around. Oh, not around, sorry. Not around. Around would be not the padding, it would be the margins. We just need to add some nice padding here, around 60 pixels. And boom, we have our lower section. We can even add this little Adidas logo. If I were just to screenshot it, doesn't really matter. I can just add a little image. Add the image down here. Wherever it is. Where's the image? Let's put it in this row. We can call this like testimonial, I guess, or quote. In this image, let's make it very, very, tiny. What it's supposed to be. And let's add the image fill. So we upload it from our recents because it's a screenshot, and I just go like this. And now it's here. And this quote has to kind of match the fill of this. And perfect, there we got it. We got our little Adidas logo. We can increase the size here to be a bit larger, maybe like 50, something like that. I kind of don't like this image in the beginning. I want to see if I can use something from their website. They have like other street images. I guess not. Maybe they have something here that I can use. Whatever. So we got this very easy to use. We can do something like this, which we can put even above, so we can move things around like I showed you. So we have 4 different columns using the same text style as here. So what I would do is just add a row. Actually, no, I would add a column down here. And let's make sure that this column is, yeah, perfect. Add this column, and then I would add rows. So I would add this row inside this column, and then inside of that row, I would just duplicate this, and actually bring this row down here. Oh, and I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to do it like this. Boom. We can delete this. And what we can do here is we can just duplicate this about 4 times? Yeah, 4 times. And then for each section, I mean, let's do it the right way. So this would be the title text, right? So this would be title, or uppercase, if you want to make it correct. And then here, for example, would be the category. And then we can duplicate this a few times. Set the gap to be larger, maybe something like 30. And then we can just duplicate this row 4 times. And then we add our standard padding everywhere and make sure that it is nice and responsive everywhere else. We can put this over this quote section. And by the way, this page has a gap. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I think it has a gap. Yes, it does. So let's just remove this. Actually, no, let's not remove it. My bad. And yeah, that's basically it, right? So we kind of built this nice little website in an hour, it says for me. Maybe it's less, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, the link to Instant is in the description below if you want to try it out. And yeah, get going. There's a lot of demand for projects like this, especially in Contra. So if you want to use Contra, I also have the link to that in the description below. There's a big opportunity for fulfilling instant, custom Shopify projects in Contra. So I'm going to add all of that information in the description below for you guys to read and check out. So thanks guys for sticking around. Hope you guys learned something today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.